In this video, we talk to the founder and CEO of Lindy. Lindy is one of the most popular new AI tools out there that allows you to build AI agents to automate your work and your life. Let's get into it. We're here with Flo, the founder and CEO from Lindy. I'm really excited to have Flo here and have him show you how you can use Lindy yourself to automate your life with AI agents. We're going to talk through some use cases that I think are going to be really useful to anyone watching, and also learn more about how Flo created Lindy and came up with the idea and how he built Lindy to where it is now. Really excited to have you here, Flo.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Seth. Yeah, so Lindy, the shortest way to describe what we do is like the Zapier of AI. And I think it'll be a lot clearer on like what I mean by this soon. The way we built this is it's a long story, but my previous startup was building video conferencing solutions. And at some point we built a meeting recorder. And then the GPT-3 API came out. So we did the obligatory thing, which is we made GPT-3 summarize the meetings. And then we had a sales team that was like, Flo, can you also make this thing update the HubSpot after the meeting? Because we spend so much time doing that every day. And I was like, sure, that can't be too hard. And that's when we realized, and mind you, it was before ChatGPT, it was like mid 2022, but that's when we realized like, oh my God, we can get GPT-3 to actually call the HubSpot API for us. And so that's when this vision came together of like, oh wow, like these agents, these LLMs can actually be agents. They can do stuff for you. It's not just generating text, it's actually doing stuff for you. So that's when this vision came together. Do you want me to share my screen, Seth, and we can just like get right into it and I can show concretely what it means?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Cool. I'll give like a super example, which is I bought a house in the south of France, which is an awful decision. Never buy real estate in France. And I put it on like, it's called Holiday. It's like a Airbnb in France. And I receive these emails whenever someone books my place and I make some money. Okay. So it's like, hey, you're having your reservation and you made like $100. You can see why I was saying it was a terrible idea. It was like, look at this, it's 2 nights. It's like $100. Anyway. So made $100 and I want to log that in a spreadsheet. Okay. If you want to do that with any other automation solution, you've got to write an HTML parser for this email. And that's a pain in the ass. It may not even be possible, and that's going to break the moment the format of the email breaks. Okay. If you want to do that in Lindy instead, this is the Lindy I have that does this. It's literally 2 steps. Step 1 is I received an email. I have a filter here, which is like if the subject is reservation confirmation. And step 2 is appending a row to a spreadsheet.
Mm.
And this is like the Zapier of AI part of the product. Each field of each step in your Lindy is a prompt.
Mm.
So here, this is the header of the spreadsheets that I just gave to Lindy. And each time here, each cell here is a prompt. So I'm like, extracts the day that the reservation begins on, extracts the amount of the reservation, extracts the total number of days of the reservation. I can also just like hard code. I can set manually these values, but like here, I'm just entering a prompt in English. And you can see, I can just refer to the email in English. I just say the email. I don't need to inject the email here. I don't need to transform it. I don't need to parse it. I'm just like the email, right? And Lindy takes care of the rest. So that's what I mean. That's what we mean by like Zapier of AI. It's not exactly automations, it's agents. And the big difference between them is like an agent, every step of an agent inherits all the context of all the previous steps. And an agent you can talk to in English the whole time. So you can just refer very naturally to whatever is going on. You can be like, hey, this meeting you just attended, Lindy can attend meetings. She's in this meeting right now. This meeting you just attended, did I at any point mention next steps? If so, log the next steps in my Asana, for example, or my linear or whatnot. Right. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
awesome. My brain is going in all these different ideas of like what you could do, even just with this kind of flow of email received and then taking some action based off of that. What are the most popular triggers that people are using? Is email the most popular? Are there other, I guess, email and meeting, are those kind of the two, or are there others that are popular?
Yeah, email and meeting are like the two big ones because that's the two things that everyone has, and that's the two things where everyone spends so much of their time. Right.
Yeah.
So meeting, I have this like meeting recorder here. This is the part where we may have to edit a little bit because this is my meeting
Okay.
history. But you can see, for example, well, I'll go here. Like we didn't talk about anything super secret here. This is a talk I just had with like an advisor that we have on like the sales side of things. Okay. So this is Lindy here. This is she joins the meeting. Here I can see the recording that she's got of the meeting and so forth. And then I can see the summary of the meeting. And then you can see, right, she like sent me a Slack message with the meeting summary. She updated a Google Doc with the meeting summary. And I can again, it's an agent, so I can just ask questions. Right. That is again what it's very different from like a regular automation. So I can be like, what did Palm say? That's the typical compensation of a salesperson in a SaaS,
Yep.
right? This is one of the things that we cover. Boom. This is it.
Amazing.
Right. So I can just chat with my meetings. And then you can have multiple workflows in a given agent. So here you can see this gives you a taste. This is like my personal meeting recorder. It's quite it looks overwhelming, but at a high level, it's pretty simple. It's like when the meeting starts, you record the meeting, and then you summarize the meeting for me. Right. Everything else is like gravy, but it's like that's the high level idea, right? Um, but then like what one cool thing it can do is it also sends me every week a summary of all the meetings I had. And
Uh-huh.
same, I can ask you follow-up questions, right? So yes, meeting recording is a huge one. It's used a lot by like salespeople because Lindy can also coach you after your meetings. So for example, um, right here, if I wanted Lindy to coach me, I could just insert a step here in the middle, and I could have her go like send me an email, right? So I'm gonna use Lindy Mail for this. I'm gonna have her send me an email. I'm gonna set this manually to just my own email,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna go like, this is gonna be a prompt, so coaching about meeting, and here's the body of the meeting. I'm gonna dictate here, but give me some feedback about the meeting, the things I'm currently trying to work on, or my communication style and my conciseness.
Yep.
Right. But here you can go like the sky's the limit. You could also like just plug it to like a Notion where you have what you're currently trying to work on and so forth, right? Um, we have like a sales meeting recorder that like sends a summary of all the sales calls we have on Slack. So like it's awesome for me as a founder because like I see every sales call that's happening in a company. And like in 5 minutes a day, I can catch up on like everything that's going on in the company. If a competitor is mentioned in the sales call, like she's gonna go like uh, she's gonna post in like the competition channel on Slack. If a feature request is mentioned, she's gonna post in the feature request channel and so on and so forth, right? So again, meeting workflows are like huge. Um, email
What
workflows, go ahead.
I was going to say, what if, let's say I wanted to kind of have a coach for myself as a founder every time, there was I gave myself, every time I had a meeting, I wanted to have that coach kind of analyze how I did, maybe based on criteria I have, and then put it into a document. And then every future call, I want it to kind of cross-reference the document that it made before, kind of just to see, okay, these are the criteria, this is how you're doing. Is there a way in Lindy to kind of have it be looking at kind of that kind of to kind of do that type of workflow, I guess? Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we could create this right now. So SaaS meeting
Yeah.
recorder.
Yeah.
The trigger here is gonna be a calendar event starting, right? Um, and I'm gonna create a new Google Doc, and I'm gonna call that. You want it to like hold like your meeting feedback or something?
Sure. Let's say meeting feedback. Yeah.
So meeting feedback, um, and yeah, that should be good. And so I'm gonna have her start the workflow by getting the document. So get the document. I'm gonna give her the link here, and then I'm gonna make her record the meeting, and then I'm gonna have her after the recording is available. I'm gonna have her add to the document. So there's update document action here. Same link. The content, I'm gonna tell her uh,
Mm.
add an entry to this document with starting with today's date, followed by the name of the meeting, followed by your feedback for me about the meeting. Is that what you have in mind?
I think something like that, yeah, would be really, yeah. So add to with today's date, the name of the meeting. And let's say I have a lot of meetings, only some of them are sales calls, some are other ones. Would there be a way to filter so it only does it on certain types of calls, for example?
Yeah, so you can either have filters here on the trigger level.
Yep. Okay.
If you can do that, that's best because that way you don't even pay for the task. If it doesn't meet the filter, it's like it doesn't even hit our systems. So if you can do that, that's best. And I think we've got a filter right here for like only only meetings with
Uh,
external attendees, right? It's probably the filter you want. Or if you want, and that's like the of AI part of the product, you can have a condition here. And again, everything's a prompt. So like here, the prompt can be like, if this is a meeting with someone with a funny sounding name, right? You can just have, well, I mean, this is one
right.
type example, but like you get the idea. It's like this is a meeting like an external participant, or this is a meeting about this and that topic,
Yep.
right?
Makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That's awesome. Okay. So we'll update
Um,
the document. All right.
okay, so it's gonna update the document, and I'm a bit confused actually about like why would you need to consult the document beforehand?
Well, I guess when it's giving feedback, it could be
Mm.
interesting to reference the previous feedback to be like, oh, you're not, I gave this feedback to you 3 times before, you're not, getting it, or great job, like you actually improved based on the previous feedback.
Right, that's a great point. So also refer to the feedback you gave previously, to tell me if you've, e.g., already given me this feedback before, or on the contrary, if you feel like I have addressed feedback you gave me
Yeah.
before. Um, that's it. Right here, we created your agent. It took us like a minute and a half. I mean, mind you, I'm also like a pro because I build this, but like it's literally 4 steps, right? That's all it is. And
Right.
so it's gonna be a little bit of a trickier one to test because obviously we have to start the meeting. So the way I'm gonna start it actually is I'm gonna reorder the steps a little bit. So I'm gonna make this one here, and I'm gonna uh yeah, the step reordering is a bit of a pain right here. Boom. And now I'm going to add another trigger so that I can chat with this Lindy, and I'm going to have it go straight here. So now I can simulate a meeting. I can simulate a meeting recording. And so now I'm
Uh,
going to test the Lindy. I'm going to go like message received, and I'm going to be like, um, fake meeting transcript. I'm just testing. Again, that's the beauty of agents. So like you can just talk to them. So I'm just testing,
right.
um, meeting between me, and John Doe, where I am being way too rambly, but good at rapport building.
Right. You could even use like, ChatGPT, have it generate synthetic, data for this and,
Totally.
yeah, totally. Um, okay, cool.
Okay, so it's getting the document, it's updating the document, and boom, right here.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Um, and now I'm gonna do it again. So I'm gonna go like meeting where so fake meeting transcript where just testing. Um, I'm being very concise and to the point in my communication style.
And do users get to choose the model that this is being run through?
Yes, absolutely. I'll show that right after this.
Cool.
So you can see here she's running, and this is all real time, by the way, which is why you can see it's buggy. Um, I mean, this is
Yeah,
not exactly a bug. It's more like the prompt could improve this. I noticed
right.
a significant positive change in your communication style compared to our previous meeting. I mentioned that there was a tendency towards verbosity, but in today's you were notably concise and to the point, right?
That's amazing.
We did it. We built this agent. Yes, you can pick your model. So you can either configure your model on a Lindy wide basis. So if you go to settings here, you can change the model for the entire Lindy,
Okay.
or
Yeah,
on a per step basis, right? Here you could just go like, for this step in particular, I need you to be smarter, right? So here this is gonna be O1,
I
right?
see.
Super expensive, but but if you want her to be super smart here, you should pick one. Yeah.
Yeah. And how are you thinking about this world of models and how quickly they're moving and how that's going to affect the product and Lindy and everything like that?
Well, it's good news for us, right? For like well, Switzerland, right? And so it's just like we have like we're like building a car, and I was like a guy who like keeps coming up with like a better engine. It's like fuck yeah, like we'll just like the product just keeps getting better while we sleep.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, and so with this thing that we just built, and then if we wanted to, let's say the last step could be like email me your feedback or whatever that you just came up with, and then that could be like the final step. And then every time, now we basically just built an AI coach for sales meetings, but or as a founder, but it essentially you could take this and it could be an AI coach for anything, just depending on what input you want to give it, essentially.
Yes. Yeah. The feedback is just added to the GDocs. Boom.
Yeah.
Uh,
Or I could even imagine like if, uh, even for the note, let's say I used to do more of no code MBA podcasts. So if I started doing that more often and I was doing interviews, like it could be a podcast coach and it could tell me how I could improve as a podcast host. And I don't just, there's so many ideas that are coming to me. So this is cool.
Yeah. Or like we've actually got some podcast tools using Lindy this way. So like yes, there's the coaching thing. There's actually a prep thing that you could use where it's like it's almost like a deep research use case. Like you could have Lindy research deeply your attendees before the meeting. Um and you can have Lindy repurpose your content. Right. So after the podcast, given the transcript of the podcast, write a LinkedIn post, right? A Twitter post.
Right.
She's not able to post them just yet, but that's coming soon. So yeah.
Got it. Got it. Okay, that'll be awesome to have those additional connections. Do you have like an API type of element to do connect to anywhere, or it right now it's only the ones that you have integrated?
No, we've got an HTTP fetch action. So if you
I see.
want to like hit any arbitrary endpoint, you can do that. Um, you can also trigger your Lindy's according to webhook. So I don't know where it is, but right here. Yeah. So again, if you want to programmatically heat up your Lindy's, you can just do this right here.
Got it. Got it. Awesome. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
Go ahead.
Yeah. So again, meeting recording is a big one. Emails another big one. I'll give an example of right now we're hiring like a lot, by the way, if anyone's listening, we're hiring engineers, designers, salespeople, customer success people. And so we're receiving a lot of applications. By the way, it's funny. Um, I think people are sometimes using Lindy to send applications not just to us, but to like a bunch of people online. They've sort of like automated their job like search. And
Yeah.
so there's a problem where it's like we've heard that it's like recruiters are like swamped right now because of AI agents. They're receiving like way more applications for their jobs. And so it's
Right.
this funny thing where I don't know if you've seen this comic where it's like someone's using ChatGPT to write the email for them and someone else is using ChatGPT to summarize the email for them. Here it's the same thing. It's like applicants are using Lindy or agents in general to like just dispatch, like to like completely like blast their resume everywhere. And recruiters are using Lindy to filter through the candidates, right? And so
Yeah.
here what I have is a Lindy where when I receive an email in my inbox, or when I forward to her an email, so I've provisioned her own email address to this Lindy, that's like candidate screener at lindy.ai. So when I do that, again, this is like a fuzzy condition. Like if this is a candidate emailing me about X, Y, and Z, right,
Interesting.
then you extract the LinkedIn of the candidate if there is one. If there is an attachment, you can just see it like by default in the email. And then you analyze the candidate and the resume. You tell me about the job hopping. You tell me about the experience relevance. You tell me about the quality of the previous companies they've worked at. You list their companies. And so I don't yet let her like filter out the resumes immediately, but like in 30 seconds, I get the digest I need. Right.
Right.
I'm actually realizing as I'm speaking, I think I should add like conclude with a recommendation of whether to proceed or not using either the red emoji, strong no, orange, maybe soft yes, or green, strong yes.
Yeah. That's great.
That's it. again, I'm doing this to like give a sense of how easy it is to update these things. It's like it takes 20 seconds.
Right, right. It's totally, yeah,
Yeah. Boom. So email is another big one. Customer support, obviously, because if you can do email automation, then you can do customer support automation.
yeah,
Um, so we've got like a RAG module here. You can do like search your knowledge base, and then you can like add your website and let Lindy scrape your website, add your Notion, your Google Drive, like upload a ton of PDFs, and then like Lindy's just going to like RAG your knowledge base and answer questions there. Um, Sales is a pretty big use case. I'll give an example here of sales. Um, I think I have like a lead researcher, Lindy. Um, Lead researcher, this guy right here. And that's the beauty of AI agent is unicorn founders. I have the CSV here of unicorn founders. Let me see if I can open it. You can't open CSVs in in Google Chrome. I'll just drag and drop it immediately. So I have a CSV with like 50 unicorn founders. And what this lady does is she researches people and then she sends them an email. And so you'll see this is again the magical part about AI agents because they're like infinitely horizontally scalable, right?
yeah.
So here she's just drafting 50 emails at the same time, right? So she's searching these people. I forgot what example of email I put in these people, right? But boom. Oh, I think it's like about like expanding their real estate footprint or whatever, right?
Right.
Uh,
And
oh,
what type of, so this is a different type of trigger where the trigger is uploading a CSV essentially.
it's actually a message received trigger. So it's just like I'm
Okay.
chatting with you. And when I upload the CSV, all it does is it just takes each row in the CSV and sends it as a message.
I see. Okay. Got it. Got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I mean, this is a
That's
day
nice.
of work here for a rack. Like sending 50 personalized emails, it takes about 6 or 8 hours for like a rack.
Totally. Yeah. 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 That's an amazing use case.
Yeah.
And
I'll
then
treat
you and then
go ahead.
you send it manually or either way, you can either send it manually or just have it actually send. Ask for
Yeah,
I see.
exactly. For each step, you can just have like this toggle here, just like ask for confirmation.
Got it. Got it. Now I'm curious on the when you were showing the your meeting recording one earlier, which was like a much bigger, what are some of the things that makes that bigger? Is it just branching out into different options essentially, or is this like only an advanced user would be able to do this, or how does someone think about it when they see, such a big kind of amount of steps essentially?
Yeah, well, it becomes big over time because you iteratively add to it,
I see.
right? So I think of it as kind of like I suspect people are going to be using like I don't know Google Sheets or Notion or Airtable. It's like and sometimes you have this like massive Google Sheets or Notions or Airtables in your business, but they didn't start out massive, right? You just like added to them little by little. So here it's the same thing. It's like your meeting recorder is going to start like the one we just created like right now. I don't know if I saved it actually. I did not save it. God damn it.
That's how it
Uh,
works.
but it starts with like 4 or 5 nodes, and then little by little, like I'll give you an example of the kind of things I've added to it. After the meeting, it goes on Slack and it looks at all my channels on Slack. Okay. And then I'm like, did you find a channel that is the right channel for this project that we just talked about? Right? If so, you send the notes to the channel. And you
Got
only do
it.
that, by the way, if this was a project sync. You can see here there's like a project sync branch for this condition.
Yeah.
And so it's awesome, right? Like we just talk about projects and then I have nothing to do. It's just like Lindy is going to automatically go and find the right place to put the notes for these meetings on Slack.
Yeah.
Uh, or I'll give one final example of the kind of things I've added. She goes, she records the meeting, and then she creates a Google Doc or she updates an existing Google Doc with the notes of this meeting. And then so that Google Doc that she creates is in the meeting notes folder.
Hmm.
And then I use the meeting notes folder as a knowledge base source right
Oh
here,
wow. Uh-huh.
right? And so now I can be like, when I send you a message, if I'm asking you a factual question about a past meeting, like, hey, what did Seth say about his start date or like why he was sick or whatever? You search the knowledge base and then you send me the reply.
I see. So this part of it that you just shared is kind of like a chat feature that you've built into being able to talk to your meeting notes essentially
That's right.
within.
That's right. So at any moment, like you can see here my task list for my Lindy. So each task here is like a past meeting. Or I can just open a new task and I can ask her a question.
Got it. Got it. That's amazing. Okay, cool. That's helpful. I feel
Yeah.
like there's like two major opportunities with Lindy. Like one is building it for your own use cases and automating things. And then I feel like there's a big opportunity to be building this for other people as like an AI agency. And because the options like it's like limitless basically of what to do. And I'm I'm sure there's I as much as you can, I'm sure it's helping get people to do it on their own. But even tools like Zapier, it's relatively easy. People are building for others. So is that yeah? It sounds. I'd love to hear you talk more about how people are doing that.
Yeah, we actually just kicked off a partner program like 2 weeks ago or something, and it's taken us by surprise. Like we've already got, I think like 20 or 30 partners. Like every time I go, there's like more. It's funny, it's a Lindy that goes and reviews these people and like manages the whole partner application process.
Yeah,
Um and yes, so we do have there is actually a growing ecosystem of companies that are specialized in building Lindys for customers. Yeah.
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I just from what you shared today, it's like you go to a sales team and you're immediately going to provide a ton of value to them. Just get inside, understand how things are set up, what they need. And like, I think that's what's amazing about the world today is you can just go like learn Lindy and then start an agency and start making money from it. There's so many ways to kind of learn AI and how you want to use it.
100%. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that right now going on.
Yeah, for sure. Um, cool. Well, this was awesome. I learned a lot about how to use Lindy, and it's giving me ideas of how I can use it myself. Um, anything else you want to share with people, Flo, before we sign off?
No, you can sign up on Lindy.ai. Super eager to get everyone's feedback. You can just email me directly at the flow@lindy.ai. Yeah, just eager to hear what everyone thinks.
Cool, awesome. And like Flo said, they're hiring, so if you want to work for Lindy, um, reach out. It'll go through it'll go through the flow that you saw in the video.
Yeah, let's see if people can figure out how to like prompt inject it. We've not had people be successful so far, but I'm sure there's a way.
That's what I was thinking when you were showing it, but I guess yeah, you might have to change the prompt a little bit based on what happens.
Right,
Uh,
right.
cool, awesome. Well, thanks for coming on. This is great.
Thanks a lot, Seth.
Thanks for watching this interview. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more free content like this in the future. Check the link in the description to go to Lindy and also to go to No Code MBA to check out in-depth AI and no code tutorials. Leave a comment if you have any questions or any ideas of what you want us to cover in the future. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.